Welcome back, one and all, to another very special episode of the Austin and Scott Variety Show.
Yay!
Woohoo! We should introduce the contestants. Scott, this week is really weird because you and I are the contestants. No guest this time. We are our own guests. How does that make us feel? Lonely? Well, I don't... I don't feel that lonely. I'm in good company. Scott, you're good company.
Yes, indeed.
Do we have to introduce each other? I guess we haven't really done a true pilot episode. We kind of glanced over the first 3 episodes, right?
Yeah. So go ahead.
I'm Austin, and this is Scott.
Hi.
Both of us know each other from college. We were in the same dorm for a while. We were in the same classes for a while. And then we were roommates for the better part of a year.
Yes.
Good times out in the deserts of New Mexico. Scott, tell us about yourself.
I'm Scott. I am a jack of all trades, I like to say. I know a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Currently as an applications engineer. I enjoy fun facts and trivia and a whole bunch of thought-evoking processes. So
Thought-evoking processes?
any good puzzle is a fun puzzle for me.
That's really good. For myself, I'm just kind of a nerd of all nerds. Yeah, went to school for physics. Currently, I'm working on software projects. When I'm not busy at work, I like music. I think my grandpa would always say, learn at least one thing every day, or try to create at least one thing every day. So this really helps.
I think you've been the one that's kind of pushed me along with some of my journeys as far as the creation stuff of where you want to try to create more than you consume, or at least as much.
Yeah, maybe it's like a different manifestation of Catholic guilt. If I'm like sitting down for too long watching TV and just consuming, I get like an itchy feeling under my skin, and I feel like with the time that I do have, I should be using more of it, or at least half of it, creating stuff instead of just consuming.
Yeah.
So that's sort of a philosophy that's kind of been my guiding light this past year or so, keeping me motivated and keeping me productive, which is very like American utilitarian way of thinking about like your spiritual life journey of like, yes, I will be a productive member of society. Yes, I will be.
Capitalism.
Yeah, I get into the Catholic perspective of it, where Jesus more or less said, if you're going to be a bartender, be the best bartender you can be. If you're going to make bread, make the bombingest, most breadiest bread you can bread. I'm like, oh, I see. I get the message. So I think the message is just lean into your craft, and you'll be rewarded for it.
Well, that brings us to our first section of content we have here that we have to create. The highs and lows of the week. Austin, how have you been this week?
It's been a pretty good week. I take my bike to the office, and it's like 1.5 miles away. I got a mile there, and then my back tire started to spring a leak. And I noticed that my top speed was going down and down and down until I got off the bike to realize what it was.
Oh, no.
And I think I just hit the brakes too hard, and the inner tube moved under the tire, pinching the little valve.
Oh.
So I got a flat tire, but I already had a spare inner tube. I knew this kind of thing was going to happen. And now in my Amazon shopping cart, I have waiting for me for the next time that this happens, a solid tubeless tire fit for my 10-inch by 2-inch rear wheel for my bike. So it uses this kind of a honeycomb structure on the inside. The owner manual is wild. It says straight up boil the tire in a big old pot of boiling water to loosen it up, and then kind of strong arm it onto the wheel hub.
So I have seen stuff like that, and usually you see them on like Humvees or all-terrain vehicles to get more traction. The main drawback that I know of for those is top speed gets drastically reduced because you have so much more drag coefficient. Is your ride flat, like riding to work flat, uphill or downhill?
There is a bridge that I have to cross both ways. I started thinking about like, what can I do to protect the battery life? And I need to reduce the number of charging cycles, and I need to keep the battery approximately 90% charged. Yeah, you don't really want the battery voltage to go all the way to 0. They say that lithium-ion batteries will lock up in your charges.
Oh, then you're just SOL.
Yeah, that happened to a longboard battery that I had. On a totally different topic is the highs of my week was that I finally got to put in, for the first time in maybe like 2 years, a clean set of retainers.
You are such a dork.
Dude. It's when it's so crispy clean, and there are there's no calcium buildup on it, and there's like those little black spots that keep growing have vanished. Oh wow. It's
okay. I have so many questions now.
Okay, so when I was in the middle of second grade, I got braces for the first time.
Yeah.
And I had to have them for about 4 years until my really messed up buck tooth was fixed by the time I was in the sixth grade. Since then, I've needed retainers top and bottom that just clip in at night to retain the shape and position of my teeth. And pretty religiously, I put them in. I think now in my old age, I put them on every other night or so. It kind of depends on whether or not I need to do the night shimmy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, because I don't want any slurping through my retainers because it's gross. Recently, we did a deep clean of our coffee pot and our kettle with a little tablet that would get rid of the calcium buildup. And I was like, hey, let me throw one of these in with my retainers in a glass.
What I'm going to be telling you is that the technology for the past 20 years has gone so far in the future that you are using such outdated 90s tech.
Yeah.
It's 10 times cheaper. I would highly recommend you go to the dentist and just be like, hey, I need a new retainer.
Well, I meet a dentist for the first time in 3 years on the 3rd, so I'll bring it up.
Okay, all right.
How was your week? Highs and lows?
Not too bad. Definitely, I think a little bit better than yours. If your retainers was your highlight. No, we went to another rock show. Let me rephrase. We went to another gem and mineral show this weekend.
Oh.
It was a nice, wonderful 70 to 80 degree day. And that was Saturday, and that was definitely my high, is that whole morning. That was just a wonderful excursion. My low was starting at 9 p.m., thunderstorms rolled in, and it ended up snowing last night. So we're now back in the 30s instead of the 80s.
Oh, but that sounds kind of
high and low.
I mean, from a California perspective, that sounds absolutely magical.
Yeah.
You get thunderstorms roll in, and then you wake up and there's snow
nice.
Everywhere. Wow.
Yep. Go from 80 to 30, a 50-degree change in less than 12 hours. Yeah. But so that's my high and low, pun intended.
Well, thanks for sharing.
Of course.
Scott, apparently we have both organized a series of games for each other in which we can collect points.
Each of us are trying to reach 10 points. And if we get to 10 points, we do win our show's prize. See how it runs tonight and go from there.
All right. Well, before we begin the games, I guess I have a few mini games in this week's Fun Fact. Scott, we all love our new technological overlords, the AIs, the GPTs, and we think they think really, really hard, but how many neurons are in those neural networks compared to creatures that we already know and love and have studied? As a sort of a baseline, as an example, I had a chat-producing robot that made philosophy, and I had about 1,000 neurons. Most projects online will recommend maybe 100 neurons to start out with. You should really consider simplifying your problem instead of just requiring more resources like neurons to solve it. But for perspective, do you want to take a guess as to how many neurons a gnat fly has?
I will say 100,000 neurons for the gnat fly.
Yeah, that happens to be like spot on
for
the number of neurons of a little fruit fly.
I was thinking about this. I was like, that's way too low for a biological neural net.
So now as a sort of a fun little mini game, an octopus, a horse, and a whale. Who has the most neurons? Who has the least?
I'm going to say the horse has the least.
Okay.
Followed by the whale, and then leaving the octopus last because I know they have neurons throughout their whole entire body. They're not limited to just their brain size. And I would say that a sperm whale, I think, is the smartest. I don't remember why that was.
I'm using orca as my litmus test.
Orca? Okay. Then yeah, a horse might beat an orca, though.
Orcas have taken out moose.
No, I'll stick with orca a second because they just started. I remember reading an article about how orcas started wearing dead fish as hats again. So yeah, I'll do
just
horses.
Just because they have culture doesn't mean they're smart, Scott.
I'll do horses, the cultured hat wearing orcas, and then the octopus.
Okay.
I've never seen a horse wear a hat. Thank you very much.
You don't hang around Texas much, do you?
No.
Apparently, an octopus will have about 500 million neurons, which puts it in last place compared to a horse, which has 5.6 billion neurons. And
wow.
Yeah,
okay,
and an orca comes up to 15 billion neurons because it's a really big creature.
Culture does make
Culture
a difference.
makes a difference. And then for context, our human compatriots, about 86 billion neurons. Not that they use them all.
Okay, now here's a question for you. What animal has the most neurons?
Ooh, that is a great question.
It's not human.
So if you want to take a guess at what big creature has the most neurons by count, apparently it comes down to the African elephant, just because it's a really, really big boy.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. They have culture. They have intelligence.
Music.
They go die off on their own. Okay, I can see that. Where's the sperm whale on here?
That is a tremendous amount of neurons. Compared to the orca whale, this blows it out of proportion. 230 billion neurons, which is less than the African elephant, but you're right. Some of these whales have a lot more than humans or orcas to boot.
All right. So yeah, we're not the smartest animal. Got to make sure that we stay on top somehow. We have enough to make ourselves dangerous.
Well, that was our fun fact. I have an Order Matters segment for you first, and then you would give me yours. Okay, in alphabetical order, I have a list of philosophers for you. Aristotle, Plato, and Socrates. In what order were these philosophers proficient in their time?
I want to say Aristotle was last because he was modern era. I just can't remember if Plato was a student of Socrates or vice versa, but I think Plato was a student of Socrates because Socrates killed himself. So I'm going to go Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. Final answer.
That is absolutely correct. Yes, Socrates is the teacher. Plato learned the lessons from Socrates and wrote them down, and then Aristotle picked up where they left off. So Socrates was around 470 BCE. Plato was 428 BCE. And Aristotle is 384 BCE. You know your philosophers.
Only because of our class.
Yeah, we took philosophy together in college.
All right, so for you, this time the order matters for stocks. I have 3 crashes for you. Your job is to put them in order as to when these crashes happened. Are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right, the first one is Friday the 13th, mini crash. Second one is Black Monday. And the third one is the dot-com bubble burst.
Okay. So the first thing that jumps out at me for Friday the 13th is all of those horrible 1980s movies about Friday the 13th.
Ooh, okay.
Right? So that gets my interest. The dot-com bubble had to come around after the dawn of the internet. And was so sometime around the 2000s or 90s, maybe. Isn't there a Christmas movie, It's a Wonderful Life? Something about this guy and he doesn't have any money, and then he goes to the bank and the bank is like, holy crap, everyone's asking for the money at the same time and we don't have it. Right. So that had to have taken place when film was in black and white, 1920s-ish. In order, I'm going to guess Black Monday, Friday the 13th, and then the dot-com bubble burst. I am locked in.
With Black Monday, Friday the 13th, and the dot-com bubble, you get all 3 correct.
Yay.
So good job locking it in. The Black Monday was October 19th, 1987, where it was a infamous stock market crash. In the event of a 20% drop, like what happened in Black Monday, trading would be shut down for the remainder of the day, so you wouldn't have a run on the bank like they did during the Great Depression in that movie. But in a modern day stock exchange setting. Non-fun fact about the Black Monday event, while the U.S. stocks plunged more than 20%, the New Zealand stock market continued to crash for the next 5 months, down to 60%. Ooh. Friday the 13th mini crash, which you also got correct because 100%. Friday the 13th, it was October 13th, 1989, right in the 80s movie phrase. So that was a great logical point you pulled out there. But it was actually from a failed leveraged buyout of United Airlines. That was the reason for the crash, is because people were expecting this to happen, and it didn't, and everybody panicked. And then, of course, the dot-com bubble happened March 10th, 2000, which was just the collapse of all the overvalued tech companies when people realized, hey, we're going to be left holding the bag for this. Infinite growth is not a possibility.
Yeah, it's got to plateau eventually. Oh, we'll see. Yep. Well, I think I might have learned something there. Thanks for sharing that.
All right. In this next segment, Fake News 2.0. Austin, would you like to explain the rules?
Yeah. In Fake News 2.0, Scott and I have both prepared a snippet of a news article for each other. In these news articles, one key detail has been adjusted or entirely fabricated, and it's up to each other to figure out what is the off detail from each other's stories.
All right, so the way this game works with Fake News 2.0 is I get 3 guesses to call out holes that I think are in your story. And it's up to Austin to say, yes, I'm close enough to the fake news part of it. If I get it correct on the first guess, I get 3 points. If I get it on the second guess, 2 points. And on the third guess, I get 1 point. And if I get it after that, 0 points.
Today, I have prepared you a story about wine country, Scott. Are you ready?
All right, let's hear it.
A historic California wine region is in peril. Never seen it this bad. Sonoma County's vineyard market is in turmoil as David Ashcroft, founder of Vintrix Real Estate, reports a record number of wine-related listings, with Amador Country particularly affected. Grape growers are struggling to find buyers, leaving much of last year's crop unharvested, and no contracts being signed over for the 2025 vintage, causing widespread uncertainty. Many farmers, like veteran grower Gay Callan, have abandoned their pruning season, fearing it may be a wasted expense. However, some see opportunity amid the chaos. While Amador Vintners face trade restrictions from Canada, some vineyard owners are reporting repurposing their unsold grapes onto higher-end artisanal vinegar, marketing it as aged wine essenced to luxury food markets. As Shake Ridge Ranch's Ann Kramer claims 20% revenue boost at her tasting room. Okay, that's our story about the current state of vineyards out in California, Scott. What stands out to you as a miss in this story?
All right. So, knowing what I know about you, I think the most likely sus part of this article is that somebody made a profit. I think that last line there of claims 20% revenue boost after her tastings, or at her tasting room from selling wine essence vinegar. Is very sus, because who would want to be tasting vinegar at a wine tastery?
Okay, so I'll tell you right here, 20% jump in their revenue so far this year. So that's not a problem.
All right, second guess. I still think that the abandoning the pruning season, you can't just leave grapes on the vine to rot, I don't think.
It's pruning season, but many farmers hesitate to prune. That's the major expense this year, and they don't know if they'll be able to see a return.
All right.
For last year's the wine grape crop, from what I've seen, 60% or so was unpicked.
Interesting. You can leave. I didn't know you could leave grapes on the vine, and I guess that's how you make raisins. But yeah, okay, all right, that makes sense. I guess I never really looked into how raisins were made.
If they can be made with the same grapes as wine grapes, yeah, that'd be interesting. If you have a Pinot raisin,
that's the next one. After the vinegar, they're going to start selling artisan raisins. All right, so number 2 is a miss. All right, last guess for me for 1 point. Trade restrictions with Canada don't come into effect, I think, until April 2nd. And so how could they be facing trade restrictions currently?
There's a political backlash in Canada. Even though Canada itself may not be imposed with the tariff, people of Canada are really pissed off about continuously being nicknamed the 51st state and all that other bullshit. So they're like boycotting a bunch of American services and products. So here in the story, they saw about a 12% of their output blocked by Canadian retail.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So individual retailers are just taking it off.
All right. So 3 misses. Yeah. All right. What was the actual fake news?
The actual fake news was a logical fallacy that the remaining grapes could be repurposed as vinegar. That would require them taking the grapes off of the vine, and they aren't hiring anyone to take the grapes off the vine to do that. You kind of sniffed it out early on, but you didn't commit to it. You committed to the 20%, the numerical route. Yeah.
So wait. So what is she getting a 20% increase in revenue then?
Because like tasting rooms, like the California market is booming. Like it's really good wine. It's just not being sold in Canada or Mexico anymore.
The market has shrunk. Also, Gen Z doesn't really drink alcohol, so the whole wino 30s and 20-year-olds aren't there. So yeah, okay. I completely missed that. That's good. I liked it. Artisan vinegar. Actually, I don't even know how you make vinegar. Do you make vinegar from?
First, you need mother of vinegar or something like that, which is like some sample of that bacteria to get the process going. But like you would need the grapes to process wine in the first place, and then let it kind of spoil into vinegar. But you'd have to take it off the grape off the vine to even do that.
Yeah, that was good. I liked it. Good job.
Yay, thanks. I hope we all learned something. All right, tell me a little bit about your story, Scott.
All right, Austin. For this fake news, I am almost ashamed to read this news article, but here we go. Move over, Derry. breast milk flavored ice cream is here.
Wow.
Yes, it is. I found this article. I was like, oh, fuck. All right. Frida, a popular baby brand, is launching a breast milk flavored ice cream to promote its new 2-in-1 manual breast pump. While the ice cream doesn't contain actual breast milk, thankfully, since the FDA wouldn't approve it, or the USDA wouldn't approve it, it's designed to replicate its sweet, creamy, slightly nutty taste. The frozen treat is also fortified with nutrients found in breast milk such as omega-3s, vitamins, and energy-boosting lactose. The idea taps into the growing trend, as studies suggest that 70% of women have tried their own breast milk and nearly a third of men are curious about it. Even celebrities like Kourtney Kardashian, Ashley Graham, and Anthony Starr have admitted to drinking it. Ice cream won't be immediately available. Like a real pregnancy, it requires 9-month wait, but those eager to try it can sign up for updates on Frida's website. A surprising response on social media has been largely positive, with some parents sharing that they've already experimented with making their own breast milk ice cream at home. Whether a bold marketing move or the next food trend, this unique dessert is certainly stirring up a conversation.
Wow. Where to even begin? What a freaking crazy story. Jesus. All right, so I have to figure out what part of this is fabricated or totally incorrect.
Correct.
Now, looking at the middle of your story, you had a few very specific endorsements I don't recognize. What struck me was that the ice cream won't be available immediately.
They are not an ice cream company. They are a breast pump company. But in order to promote it, they have done this release.
I mean, you have to do a collaboration with Ben and Jerry or something. Yeah, I'm gonna say the wait, that there is no wait list, that you can get the ice cream now if you really wanted to.
The wait list is real. They do have a 9-month wait to get it, and the reason why I think that's probably for the better is because you get 9 months of promotion without actually having to deliver on this shitty ice cream. So you build hype for the 9 months. So it's a marketing move. That makes total sense.
I want to attack the last third of your essay. No one's making breast milk ice cream at home. That's not it.
That has also been reported of happening. Granted, it's still sus, but that was in the article. As far as being I don't know if I believe it either, but that was in the article.
Okay. So next I think about baby formula, because it's already supposed to be like a nutritional supplement for breast milk, right? So now I'm looking at these ingredients. It's designed to replicate the sweet, creamy, and slightly nutty taste. So not only is it a nutritional supplement, but it also tastes better too. Omega-3s in breast milk? I'm going to say omega-3s, because I think you get omega-3s from like fatty fish, but that's not something that you would find in natural breast milk. No?
It is also in that ingredient, yep. Like I said, this one was hard.
Yeah.
I'm still going to give you a point.
Okay.
And here's why. You called it out from the very beginning.
Did I?
But because I was so willing to let you Google it, you went off of it immediately. And if you had Googled Kourtney Kardashian, Ashley Graham, and Anthony Starr, you would have realized that Anthony Starr is the actor that plays Homelander. Have you watched The Boys at all?
Oh, the meme, the breast milk meme. Yeah.
So I added Anthony Starr in here, where in reality only Kourtney Kardashian and Ashley Graham have admitted to drinking breast milk.
I see.
So that was my little insert of fake news. Good job.
Oh, that's all right. Oh, well, thank you. You also get a pity point, too. You also mentioned in my story that you picked it out. The vinegar is gross, and why the fuck would you taste vinegar? I'll give you a pity point, too. Right. Gentleman's agreement. All right, what next do we have, Scott?
Our next segment is business battles. 2 ideas against each other. Which one is the better business? But for today, it looks like we have regular mail versus email. And we're going to flip a coin to see who has to defend which side.
All right, Scott, I'm picking tails. Flip a coin.
Right. It is tails.
Woohoo!
You get to pick.
I want to pick mail, proper mail.
This is where we discuss why one is better than the other. Some selling points for one might say. Why do you think mail is better than email, Austin?
I think real mail is better than email because it's in the real world. It's real mail. Tangible. Physical. You can smell it. You can read it, you can touch it, you can rip it, you can wad it up in a ball and throw it into the garbage and get a 3-pointer.
I thought you were gonna say pop
it's
it.
real mail. It's a real connection between you and people doing business in your local area. And like birthday cards from grandma and family. These are all very real things. And real mail is a reflection of the reality that we live in, day out. Real mail. We actually check it.
All right. That's pretty good. I was not ready for that. That was a very nice business pitch.
Thank you. It was improv. Yeah. Tell me about email.
Have you tried email? The mail of the future. It's It's in the internet. It's virtual. It's hot. It's happening. Why kill one tree when you can kill an entire forest from just burning it to produce the electricity you need to send this email? Also, have you heard of cat memes? You can't send gifts in mail. Like Harry Potter with moving messages. You can't have that. Whereas with email, you now have access to an infinite world of possibility of ones and zeros with a fraction of the cost. You yourself can make your dreams come true. Email is for everyone. That's what the E's for.
I love that at the end. In the early part of your pitch, I thought you said email. The E stands for internet.
I was going to, but I was like, that's Ethernet. It's like pivoted to email. It's in the internet. So we now have our two businesses here. Is there anything else you want to talk about these businesses? Pros, cons?
Yeah. I mean, we kind of need them both. I don't check the email. Like, I think I might check my real mail more.
See, the benefits of email also is you have pre-made filters that you can set up.
I don't know. I got to think about it. I want to touch on your gifts component of your pitch. Because, like, back in the day, you'd have to send a flipbook. And flipbooks were real. Those are the gifts of the pre-internet. Yep. Email, freaking screen that's accessible from my phone or my computer, wherever I want to be. So convenient, pain in my ass.
I mean, you have a point. There is a personal touch to mail that you can't get with email. Next game segment, though, that's tied to this, is we've commissioned a piece of music artwork to then make our jingles for each company. Without further ado,
yes, we will have to make a jingle off of this track.
It is very exciting. We're going to take a little break here, and we'll be right back with our jingles that we'll sing to you.
A parcel, a package, a letter, a message from boxes and stamps. USPS is champ. Celebrating 50 years of stamps with Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, that's it.
Nice.
Thanks. USPS was founded in 1971. When I thought it would be... Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What was it before? The Pony Express?
I think so.
The whole entire time?
It was always the Pony Express.
It always has been.
Always has been. Dungeons and Dragons stamps. 50th anniversary.
Oh, you didn't even bring... That's such a good argument.
Stamps? Stamp autism?
There's a whole stamp collecting. Yeah. I don't have stamps with email. Why didn't they add stamps to email? Oh my gosh, that's a whole digital collection. Oh my gosh,
it's
NFTs. Oh my god. Why is this not a thing? The new business idea. Email NFTs for stamps. It's the new mail of the future, so send gifts and cat pics with no delay. Have your message arrive today. Now with spam filtering and push notifications for your pleasure.
Wow, I love it. That's really good, Scott. I think we both get a point for this one, Scott.
Yeah,
we're all winners in the creative space. Yeah. I think we're tied for 5 points, Scott, which is perfect as we go into our final segment, Expert Knowledge, where the total of 5 points for each of us.
Yeah, so for this segment, basically we have 5 known facts that an expert would know. And so we have to find out, is the other one an expert in the subject, or are they a quack?
Oh, I love it.
So, for this segment, we have selected the expert knowledge of holes, where we have 5 questions that we will be asking each other to see if the other one is truly an expert. So, Austin, if you'd like to take it away with your first question to see if I am an expert in holes, I'll let you start first.
Yes. Okay, first question about holes. The discovery of black holes. The year 1969. High or low? Do you think black holes were discovered before or after?
I think 69 is too low of a year.
And you are correct. A satellite was sent up in 1964 to start doing observations and found a mysterious X-ray source coming from seemingly nowhere, a point in the night sky which other stars seem to orbit around. So scientists might have observed it as early as 1964, but they couldn't commit themselves to the idea of a black hole until it was formally acknowledged and published in 1971. Which is around the time that Stephen Hawking was doing his grad school thesis, and this inspired him to do all of his future work. Yes, so yeah, we learned something. Yeah. Good job.
Yeah, I so far have proved myself to be a hole expert still. Austin, the world's deepest hole is in Germany. True or false?
I'm pretty sure the world's deepest hole is somewhere in Russia, because there's only one country in the world crazy enough to build a hole as far down as you could possibly go. So I'm going to say false, not in Germany.
Correct.
Woo-hoo.
It is in fact in Russia as well. Yeah, Germany is the home to the second deepest hole in the world. Gee, so far we both seem like we're pretty good experts.
Yeah, you seem to be a pretty good hole expert there, Scott. Okay. For your next question, Scott, black holes. We all know that when stars explode, depending on how big they are, they can either collapse into a dwarf star or they can explode in a supernova and produce a black hole. But they have to be really, really big. 25 solar masses, I'm going to say, is the required mass to produce a black hole of a star.
Mass.
Theorized. Is this number high or low?
25 solar masses. I'm going to say that's way too low, and here's my logic behind it. Our sun will just keep expanding until they die out. It will not supernova, if I'm remembering correctly.
Our star's too small.
So 25 of our suns, we're not close enough to even becoming a supernova. So only 25 times seems still very low to me. I think you need at least 100, if not 1,000 times our solar mass. So that's where I'm going to say that number is too low.
You would be...
No!
Incorrect. I'm sorry. It only requires 20 solar masses for a star to form a black hole after it explodes in a supernova. Yes.
What is the solar mass you need for a supernova?
That is a very good question. So in order to get a supernova of any kind, for a star to properly explode, it's called the Chandrasekhar limit. And all you need is about 1.44 solar masses. So that means our sun is still not a candidate to explode in a supernova to form a white dwarf. There are much worse stars out there.
I did not know that it is only 20 times our star to become a black hole.
Yep.
I thought there was a lot more to become supernova than ours. I didn't know that there was that little. All right. Well, I guess I am not as much of an expert as you are, unless you get this next question wrong.
All right. Tell me about it.
This next question is: the deepest ice hole is deeper than 1 mile deep. True or false?
We might be able to do 5 miles vertically because we have pretty good drilling equipment now. But 1 mile is so far. Yeah, I'm going to say it is further than 1 mile.
You are more of a hole expert than I am so far. It is, in fact, 1.5 miles deep is the deepest ice hole. So the Ice Cube Neutrino Observatory in the South Pole features 86 holes drilled in the Antarctic ice, reaching the depth of roughly 2.5 kilometers or 1.5 miles to house the observatory sensors. So they are doing the neutrino checking and all that stuff from your black holes or whatever else is sending out neutrinos. So yes, they are deeper than 1 mile thick or deep.
My next assertion for you, true or false? Donuts have the same number of holes as coffee mugs.
Oh no. I'm gonna go with true.
And you would be, according to topologist nerds.
Yep.
Correct.
Because the handle, because if you flatten the cup.
Yeah, the handle is the only true hole in the topology. So they are both considered genus 1 because they have one through hole apiece. All right, what question do you have ready for me, Scott?
All right, third number question for you is: the deepest hand-dug hole is more than 1,000 feet deep.
Did you say a kilometer?
1,000 feet.
So 1,000 feet.
Yeah.
1,000 feet's like shy of a third of a mile. That's definitely doable. Is dynamite explosives hand tools?
They are not hand tools.
I'm going to say that we can go down a third of a mile.
Unfortunately, it's not if we can or we can't. It's if it was ever done. And the answer is no, because why would you dig 1,000 feet by hand when you can just use excavators
to pray to your god?
So the first diamonds were where this came from. It was basically from mid-July of 1871 to 1914, up to 50,000 miners dug a hole with pickaxes and shovels, yielding a lot of diamonds. The surface of the hole was around 17 hectares or 42 acres, and it was around 1,500 feet wide, but only 790 feet deep, which before became too unstable to really dig any further. Now, since then, the De Beers company has come in and mined from the side below that, but that's the biggest open hole, essentially, is that was hand dug of 790 feet.
All right, let's move on to the next question. CDs, compact discs, they have a hole, right, Scott? CD is also a image, an emoji that exists on the Unicode ASCII table. In the Unicode ASCII table, there's also an emoji for a hole. Now, high or low, is the Unicode for a hole higher or lower than the Unicode number for a CD?
What?
So I'll tell you, Unicode is written in hexadecimal. It's a numerical system that counts from 0 up to F, and then it keeps going. It's usually like 6 digits or 7 digits long.
You know what? This is without cheating. I can say for certainty, though, that the Unicode for whole comes after the Unicode for CD. But I know it from experience of using this Unicode code previously.
Amazing confidence. Amazing. Yes. Because you would be correct. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? How do you know about
so yesterday when I was looking for a coin, I was looking for things that looked like coins. And CD was in the third tab, whereas the hole or dizzy icons, which were next to each other, I was like, what the hell is that? So I actually hovered over it, and it said hole. That was in the last tab of icons that you could choose from the Unicode list.
It is a little bit down the list. Yes, CD is kind of middle of the pack. Yeah. So, good job. Good job. You know your way around a modern computer.
I am a whole expert. Do not question me, good sir.
Well done.
Oh, man.
All right. What's your fourth question for me?
All right. Going back to that first question, theorizing. The world's second deepest hole is over 10,000 feet deep. True or false?
This is the German one that you brought up?
Correct.
All right. You're saying 10,000 feet?
Correct.
10,000 feet. If you divide it by 3,000, that's shy. It's more than 3 miles, or about 3 miles. Now, can you do 3 miles with modern drilling equipment? I'm going to say, yes, it's deeper than 10,000 feet.
You are correct, because I actually fucked up and put feet instead of meters, so you get it correct. It is around 30,000 feet, or 9,100 meters. I put 10,000. I was like, 10,000, he'll guess over it. I know he will. And I put feet and read off feet instead of meters. So that's on me. So you did great. And you did guess correctly on that. It is the German Continental Deep Drilling Program, the KTB.
Okay. My last question for you is a little bit more whimsical.
Okay.
The film Holes, where there's a titular character who is forced to work on a ranch, Camp Green Lake. Oh, no. Yeah, in what state is the story supposed to take place? And for a bonus point, what state was it actually filmed in?
Oh no. Okay.
I'll give you a pity point if you can name the actor.
Shia LaBeouf.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Nevada.
Okay, are you locking that in?
Yeah, I'll lock it in.
Okay, it is not filmed. Supposed to take place in Nevada. So Camp Green Lake is supposed to be somewhere in the middle of Texas.
That makes more sense. Okay.
And there's a lot of logistical reasons why they didn't want to film out in Texas. So instead they filmed near Highway 14 in Canton, California for some Red Rock shots of Red Rock Canyon State. Torona, Lancaster, Santa Clarita, California for some of the home shots. And then Cuddleback Dry Lake, a missile testing location for the U.S. Navy, was used for the desert scenes.
Okay. Nice.
But I think you survived by the skin of your teeth on the pity point there.
Scott. Yeah, I'll have to make sure, because I think we're both at 9 points going into this.
We are.
Or 8 points, and then Yeah. Okay. All right. So for your last question of if you're a hole expert or not, are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
In the Third Age, the more easily accessible seams of the mithril were exhausted, and the dwarves dug deep until they disturbed a Balrog, a powerful fire demon. It killed King Durin the Sixth, acquiring the name Durin's Bane, and then Nan the First, his son, ultimately stopping the digging of the deepest hole in Lord of the Rings. True or false?
Then the Balrog might be that fire demon creature that ends up killing Gandalf the Grey. I'm gonna go with my gut and say true.
Correct. Yay. Now for a bonus point, who ended up killing the Balrog?
No, I don't think I deserve the pity point. I don't know. I'll say Gandalf.
Correct.
Yeah.
He killed him on top of the mountain, though, after they'd fallen, and for 8 days they fought.
Oh, sick.
But it was Gandalf, so you do get your bonus point as well. So you are indeed as much of a hole expert as I am, good sir.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Nice. I admire your whole expertise, Scott.
Can't.
Do you admire my whole expertise, Scott?
I'll let your wife do that. Yes. I do believe that you are a whole expert. All right. And with that, Austin, you have 10 points. Woo! Congratulations. You've won. Thank you. Your prize is one hypothetical wish, but with a dash of rules and a sprinkle of surprises. What would you like to wish for, Austin? Oh, yep. Legal disclaimer. By submitting your hypothetical wish, you no magical creatures were harmed in the making of your wish. Do you accept these terms and conditions?
I accept these terms and conditions. I'm really happy that we don't hurt any magical creatures for the sake of
this is very important for the show.
You know, I'm going to wish. I'm gonna wish that mankind is no longer required to toil for the services rendered by Jeff Bezos.
Interesting.
Off the top of my head, I was thinking, hey, it's hard work working at those Amazon factories, and I just can't stop myself from buying things off Amazon. And if what I'm buying inconveniences other people that are just trying to do their jobs and are being treated less than human, then maybe I shouldn't even be participating in his services, because I could be doing undue harm to mankind. Another way to spin this is that if I get exactly what I want, then suddenly an entire labor force no longer gets
is unemployed.
Is unemployed, and we, as an economy of people, have had to accommodate and add more job availability on the market space that is increasingly being encroached by services of AI.
You mean like the U.S. government?
Yeah.
All right. The question before I grant or put terms and services on your wish, did I win our show's prize?
Yeah, if you were gonna win, what would you have requested?
And I also too accept the terms and conditions. Let's see here.
Yeah.
I would wish that the world could figure out how to distribute the excess resources that it had that were being put to waste to people that could use it for the betterment of the world.
Should I grant you this magical wish, which I can't, what if I told you that the economics of doing this would destroy the planet? For instance, someone once said that you could put the entire population of the world in like a single city in the great state of Texas. But then the immediate problem is suddenly you have, what is the number now? 14, 16 billion people all in one plot of land. All of them have to shit. All of them have to piss. All of them have to eat. Resources. All of them have to leave. And how many planes, trains, and automobiles does it take to get everyone back to their homes safely? Right?
Yeah. So, also, what's the lifespan of this? Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah. And then, you might be able to service the people on the edge of the giant clump of people in a big surface area, but that means that everyone in the middle of that sphere of mankind is rendered inaccessible for maybe days, maybe weeks, except for maybe helicopters coming airlift people out.
Oh, well, would air count as the excess resource if everyone's a location can't get rid of waste, to your point earlier about the poop.
Yeah.
And so it's the excess waste that in order to enable the distribution of excess resources, the excess waste becomes the problem. I might have screwed over the world. Although, granted, Amazon would all have to be at one location, so I guess that removes the needed services rendered by Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, you don't need that transportation network if everyone's in Texas.
Yeah, it's no longer required. So mankind is, thankfully, because of my wish, I've granted your wish. And mankind is no longer required to toil for the services rendered by Jeff Bezos. Because there are no services rendered by him anymore, because Amazon doesn't need to exist.
Yeah, you solved the world's resources problems by like killing 2/3 of everyone on Earth. And then there's
I Thanosed it.
Yeah. Oh, problem solved. That's a bunch of people that don't need resources anymore, Scott. Congratulations.
But yeah, no, that was I think that was a good wish session. Thank you for not granting my wish.
It would be counterproductive. All right, Scott, we do have one listener question. Jamie from Juneau, Alaska writes us, what is your dream job and what is keeping you from doing it? Jamie, you assume too much. Like I'm not already doing my dream job. Psh. Scott, what's your take on this question?
Well, Jamie, my dream job is to find a way to help other people in training. So if I had to put that into my skill set, one of the jobs that I really enjoyed doing in the past was a trainer for technical products, where I would train new people up on the products and so forth. I really enjoyed it. However, it was in a location that was not ideal, aka Illinois. So I had to leave that job for another job. But that was probably going to be my if I could do that on a larger scale, that would be my dream job. And what's keeping me from doing it? A, location, but B, there's not always that much money in training. If you want to do it for nonprofit purposes and stuff. So you have to find somebody that's willing to pay you to train people and establish that value there. So it's a little bit of legwork to get there. Responsibilities to family is what's keeping me from doing it in that regards. And myself. Responsibilities to myself as well. Things that I want in life.
Well, thank you for sharing, Scott.
Yeah.
I mean, Scott, my answer to this is that I've already gaslit myself into thinking that I am doing my perfect dream job. So there's no need to worry about such silly things. But I will tell you, Jamie, you already know that I'm a pretty musical person. So at one point in my life, I did say, hey, maybe music could possibly be my career. And I did put in the effort to figure out whether or not that was going to be kind of my forever thing. I mean, your trick is to get your fixed costs down as low as possible. My rent was only $500 a month. In that situation, yeah, I was able to kind of chase my dream to figure out whether or not I was cut out for it. And then I realized that there was no way to do music without a support structure of other publishers and artists and other items that are required to supplement the audio component. But doing that alone is existing in a vacuum. It doesn't cut it. So I had to kind of set that aside. So I get to let my dream job kind of be a fun thing I do on the side while I get paid to do something else that's very different, but also very fun, which is doing software engineering.
I will say there's definitely something to hobbies in the realm of happiness, of where you can do something out of just the pure joy of it and you don't have to do any of the chores of it. That makes it really enjoyable. Take those advices and see what you can do with it. As far as dream job goes, it all depends on who you are.
Yep. Doth protest too much, Jamie? What is your dream job? What's keeping you from doing it, Jamie?
All right, listeners. Well, if you have any questions that you want to ask us, or if you'd like to be a guest on our show, feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to have you on. Otherwise, thank you for listening, as always, and have a good one.
Yeah, thanks for joining us again on another special episode of the Austin and Scott Variety Show. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Croissant.